Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another Pioneer deck tech. So today we're going to be talking about $50 Gigantosaurus, Aggro, and Pioneer. I'm really excited to bring this list to you. A couple things before we hop into it here. As always, let me know in the comments section below. What do you think about the list? Do you like it? Do you hate it? What would you change? And also, if there's any decks that you'd like to see in an upcoming video, just let me know in the comments section below. And as always, the deck list will be in the description below for those who would like to check out the list. So, alright, we're going to hop into it here. Just as a quick little thing, I love Gigantosaurus. It's one of my favorite cards in Magic. Unfortunately, in the last couple years, there's been a lot of incredibly good 5-drops that have definitely outclassed it. Funny enough, in my very first Pioneer 1K I ever played in, I made top 8 with a deck playing Gigantosaurus. With a list actually pretty similar to what we're going to be talking about today. So, very nostalgic card for me. Everybody's favorite 5-mana 10/10. Alright, let's hop into it here. So, as always, we have our mana producers. We've got 4 Llanowar Elves, 4 Elvish Mystics, and 2 Paradise Druids. So, Paradise Druid is the first one. We haven't talked about this one in a minute. It's a 2/1 for 1 and a green Elf Druid. Has hexproof as long as it's untapped. And then we can tap her for 1 mana of any color. So it's really just backup Llanowar Elves and Elvish Mystic for the most part. It's also pretty good with other cards that we're going to see in a second in our deck, just because it having hexproof can be really annoying for some decks to try and get rid of it. So just a fantastic backup elf to be playing in a deck like this. Next, we have 3 Lovestruck Beasts. So we can cast the Heart's Desire for 1 green and create a 1/1 human creature token, and then it goes on an adventure. Then we can cast Lovestruck Beast for 2 and a green. It's a 5/5 that can't attack unless you control a 1/1 creature. Luckily for us, we're playing the humans, and we're playing the Llanowar Elves and Elvish Mystics, so it's not going to be too hard to be able to attack with Lovestruck Beast. Just a fantastic card in general. Then we're playing 4 Steel Leaf Champions, green, 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 for a 5/4 that can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Just a fantastic card. Playing this on turn 2, some decks will just single-handedly lose to just the Steel Leaf Champion. It's just that good. Next, we have 4 Old Growth Troll, 4/4 for green, green, green with trample. When it dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield. It's an aura enchantment with Enchant Force you control, and has Enchanted Force as tap, add 2 green, and tap 1, sacrifice this forest, create a tapped 4/4 green troll warrior creature token with trample. So Old Growth Troll is a fantastic card. Obviously, if our opponent removes it, it ramps us a little bit, and then we can cash in the forest if we want to make another 4/4 trampling troll. So just a really, really, really good card. Old Growth Troll is a fantastic card to be playing in this deck, because obviously, even if they remove it, it's going to come right back. Steel Leaf Champion, obviously fantastic card, but if they kill the Steel Leaf Champion, then it's over. At least with the troll, it's a lot better against mid-range and control decks. So fantastic Magic card. So next, we are hopping into our last 3-drop here. We have Polukranos Reborn. It's a 4/5 for green, green, green Legendary Hydra with Reach. Then we can tap 6 in a Phyrexian white, which means we can pay 2 life or a white, and transform it. Then it turns into Polukranos Engine of Ruin, a 6/6 with Reach and Lifelink. Whenever Polukranos Engine of Ruin or another non-token Hydra you control dies, create a 3/3 Hydra with Reach and a 3/3 Hydra with Lifelink. So, fantastic card, new edition from March of the Machines. It's just really good. 4/5 for 3 with Reach. It transforms and basically turns into like a pseudo Wormcoil engine. What's not to like about this card? So when Polukranos was first spoiled, I was very excited. Wasn't sure what I was going to put it in, and I was really happy that we were able to fit it in our budget list here, which was awesome. So, our 4-drop here, we have 2 Surrak the Hunt Caller, Legendary Human. It's a 5/4 for 2 green, green, and it's formidable. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if creatures you control have total power 8 or greater, target creature you control gains haste until end of turn. Really, I can't say enough good things about Surrak. Surrak is absolutely fantastic. Being able to give, like any other creature we play past it, pretty much haste. We can give our namesake card that we're going to look at here in just a second, really giving any of our creatures haste. And if we're doing what we want to do, it's going to come in with haste. If we go turn 2 Steel Leaf Champion, turn 3 Surrak, boom, we are formidable at the beginning of combat, and we can give our own Surrak haste and attack for 10. So, Surrak, absolutely fantastic card. I think a really underrated card, just in general, in Pioneer, I would say. Alright, So next we have, obviously, the staple card, Gigantosaurus. It's a 10/10 for green, 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 vanilla dinosaur. So obviously we've got some cards here that are going to help us kind of take advantage of Gigantosaurus, because obviously, oh, it can just be chump blocked and, and then whatever. It can't do any damage. But the next slide here, we're going to take a look at two cards that are going to help us do that. So we have 3 Vivian Arcbow Ranger. 4 loyalty for 1 green, 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 legendary Planeswalker Vivian. We can add 1 loyalty to distribute 2 +1/+1 counters up to 2 target creatures. They gain trample until end of turn. Bingo! We got the trample. We already got that figured out. -3, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or Planeswalker. Obviously fantastic. It's a rabid bite. We can take out other creatures or walkers. And our creatures are giant, so it's going to do a lot of damage. Then we have -5. You may choose a creature card you own from outside the game, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Spoiler alert, we don't have as many as like a Karn Wishboard, but we do have a lot of Wishboard targets for the Vivian Arcbow Ranger, kind of depending on the situation that we're in at the given board state. But Vivian Arcbow Ranger is potentially even the best card in the deck. It is fantastic. I wanted to go to 4 copies, but unfortunately the budget list didn't allow it, but honestly 3 is perfectly fine. Then our other way to give trample, we're playing 2 Cartouche of Strength. It's 2 and a green enchantment or a cartouche. Enchant creature you control. When it enters the battlefield, you may have enchanted creature fight target creature an opponent controls. Then enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has trample. So obviously fantastic, especially if we slap it on a Gigantosaurus, Boom, 11 damage to your dude. Oh, and we'll attack for 11 with trample. So Cartouche of Strength, very, very good card. It's just, when Cartouche of Strength came out, I played this card a lot when it was in Standard, and a lot in Pioneer when Pioneer first started, and I'm really happy that we can play this card again. Then rounding out our main board, other than our lands, we have 3 Tyvar Stand, green and X instant. Target creature you control gets +X/+X and gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Obviously a fantastic new addition by Phyrexia. Really, not enough good things I can say about this. It's a protection spell, but we can also use it as a pump spell if we need. So Tyvar Stand is just absolutely cracked. It's Blossoming Defense on steroids, pretty much. So, fantastic card. Then rounding out our main board here, we're playing lands. We're playing 4 Haship Oasis. It's a desert. We can tap it for a colorless, or we can tap it, pay 1 life, add a green to our mana pool, or we can tap 1 green green, tap it, sacrifice a desert. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Activate this ability at only time you can cast a sorcery. So obviously it's just a good flex land for the most part. Throw it on a Sea Leaf Champion, an Old Growth Troll, anything with trample, and it's just going to do massive damage. So big fan of Haship Oasis. It's really cheap, honestly a fantastic card to be playing in a deck like this, so I'm happy we get to play it. And then obviously we're playing 19 Forests, nothing too crazy about that. As always, the flavorful land of the day, I decided to choose this M13 one. I know this is like one of the common reprinted lands. I know they did this in like M14, M20, M21. I'm just a big fan of this forest in general. I just like the overall artwork to it. So, all right, that is the deck here. We're going to hop into the sideboard here. We got a couple slides. Again, we have some wishboard targets and stuff, but we also have some non-wishboard targets. So, we have 2 Tormod's Crypt, 0-mana artifact. We can tap it, sacrifice it, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. Obviously, just a staple graveyard hate card for budget decks. Then we have 3 Damping Sphere. 2-mana artifact. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces a colorless instead of any other type. Each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that player has cast this turn. Obviously just good against the mono green devotion decks. It's good against Lotus combo, and it's good against Arclight Phoenix because it's really hard for them to bring the Phoenixes back. Then we're playing 2 Atraxas Fall, new card from March of the Machines. 1 and a green sorcery, destroy target artifact, battle, enchantment, or creature with flying. Obviously, this comes in against a wide range of decks. Any deck that's playing problematic artifacts, enchantments, we bring it in. If our opponent's playing any battles, which, maybe if they're playing like Invasion of Kori or something, we can go ahead and take it out. Or, the main reason we're playing it too, it takes out a creature with flying. If our opponent's playing Neoform Atraxa, we can get that giant flyer off the board. If they're playing, spirits or angels or whatever it is. If there's pesky flyers on the other side, we're taking them out with Atraxas Fall. Bonus points if you do take out an Atraxa with an Atraxas Fall, by the way. So, then we've got 2 Bouncers Beatdowns, 2 and a green instant. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a black permanent. Bouncers Beatdown deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. if that creature or planeswalker would die this turn, exile it instead. So I almost played Tail Swipe in this slot, but I decided to go with Bouncer's Beatdown. Mostly because this does not target one of our own creatures. So, you know, if we go to play a fight spell and our opponent goes, go for the throat, your creature, then the spell fizzles. Whereas this is just, it deals where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So unless we have a creature and they kill it, the spell is pretty much going to resolve. Also, what's really cool about this is if we're, for Grease Fang, it's an instant speed removal spell. So as long as we have the 1 green, we can go ahead and take out that Grease Fang for 1 mana. So Bouncer's Beatdown is just a fantastic card. And it also takes out Planeswalkers, which is pretty sweet. So, fantastic card. So now, here on out, the rest of the cards are going to be for the Vivian Wishboard. We have 2 Scavenging Ooze. 1 and a green, 2/2 for green. Exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze, and you gain 1 life. Obviously, fantastic card. I decided to play 2 copies in this, because that way, you know, we could bring 1 in, or we could even bring both in if we want to, if we're not really going to be wishboarding for it. Scavenging Ooze is just that good, especially in a budget deck. Then we're playing 1 Cankerbloom, 3/2 for 1 and a green, Phyrexian Fungus. We can tap 1, sacrifice Cankerbloom to destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or proliferate. I wanted a artifact enchantment removal card in this slot, and I decided with Cankerbloom, mostly because with Vivian, Arcbow Ranger, you know, it makes a lot of 1/1 counters and stuff. So I figured with Cankerbloom, there could be a situation where we grab it and then proliferate, and then we're able to like help take out our opponent or something like that. It's kind of niche, but this is the card I decided to play over like Reclamation Sage or Thrashing Brontodon, mostly because it has the proliferate, and it's a 3/2 for 2, which is a really good rate. So, our last slide here, we have 1 Nylea's Disciple, 2 green for a 3/3 Centaur. When it enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to your devotion to green. I know that there's a smaller version of this where it's a 2/2 for 1 green. I decided that I wanted the Nylea's Disciple pretty much because I don't want it to die to Stomp. Like that is single-handedly the main reason it dies to like Stomp and play with fire, whereas this does not. And yeah, I mean, it still gains 2 life, at minimum, at least with the Nylea's Disciple, but you know, with a lot of our cards having a lot of green pips, we're going to gain a lot of life from this. So obviously, you know, with Vivian, if we're kind of on the ropes in terms of life total, we can tutor up the Nylea's Disciple and gain some of that life back. Then we're playing 1 Shifting Ceratops, 2 green for a 5/4 that can't be countered, protection from blue. Then we can tap a green and give it reach, trample, or haste until end of turn. So this card kind of plays 2 slots in this deck. One reason is because it's technically a haste threat, at least for 5 mana, which, you know, if we need that last little bit of damage to get through, we can grab the Shifting Ceratops. I also decided to play it because it is extremely good against decks like Blue-White Control. Like, I know they have white removal, but they can't counter it. If we're playing against mono-blue like Spirits, they just pretty much lose to this card for the most part, assuming that we're at a healthy life total. They can't interact with it at all. So, Shifting Ceratops, absolutely fantastic card. Then, rounding out our Wishboard, we're playing a Ghalta Primal Hunger. 12 for 10 green, and it costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control, and it has trample. So what's really cool about this is Gigantosaurus single-handedly pays for the entire 10 of the spell, which I think is pretty hilarious. But yep, just 1 Wishboard Ghalta. I would say probably on average Ghalta is going to be the most common card that you Wishboard, assuming that our deck is doing what we want it to do. You know, if we go turn 2 Steelleaf Champion, turn 3 Vivian, put some counters on, and then if we have, you know, if we untap and we're able to Wishboard with our Vivian, we're going to be grabbing Ghalta most of the time. So be prepared that Ghalta is going to be the most pulled card from the Wishboard. Just figured I would throw that out there. So that is the entire deck. I feel like we went through this really fast again. Maybe that's just how the budget decks typically go, where they're a lot faster for us to go through. But I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this episode. This was a fun deck. Let me know in the comment section below if you liked it. And then obviously, if there's any decks that you'd like to see upcoming in a video, just let me know in the comment section below. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one.